Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City Council meeting for the City of Weatherford, Texas. Before we call this meeting to order, I'm going to invite Doug Jefferson up. Doug is with New Hope Baptist Church, and he's going to lead us in our invocation. Thank you for being here, sir.
May we all pray. Father God, we just want to say thank you for being so gracious, so merciful, and so kind. Thank you for this opportunity to stand before you and before these people just to let them know and to let you know that we appreciate all that you've done for us. Thank you for those who are serving in office. We ask you to continue to bless and protect them. So much going on, Father. But at the local, state, and federal levels, protect, Father, right now, because we know that you can. And help us all to remember that whatever decisions, whatever actions we take, whether right or wrong, whether good or bad, one day we will have to stand and account for those. So help us to be mindful that only what we do for you will last. So help us to make decisions that will bless your people. Bless the citizens of Weatherford, the citizens of Parker County, and the United States. We love you, and we just can't thank you enough for all that you do. We are very grateful. All these blessings we ask you in your darling son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you again for being here. Item 2 on the agenda is a call to order and announce we do have a quorum present. Please let the record indicate Mr. Tiskus is not with us this evening, but we will call the meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. Item 3 on the agenda is pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags. Jeff Robinson, would you lead us, sir?
Sure. If you would please join me for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you for that, sir. Item 4 on the agenda is items of community interest. Mr. Otop.
A few. Food Park Lounge Nights start back up September 21st at Heritage Park from 6 to 9. Those are always popular there at Heritage Park. Concert series always starts back up. I know, Mayor, your personal band favorite, Back in Black, will be there. They're actually back by popular demand. They'll be September 25th from 7 to 9. And just wanted to formally welcome, we have a new employee, Aaron Russell, that started with us last week. And Aaron comes to us from the city of Burleson, where he spent the past 16 years, and he is over our utilities, capital projects, DPW, parks, and development services. So welcome aboard, Aaron.
Welcome, sir. You want to go ahead with that speech, or let's do that another time?
Yeah.
I couldn't be more thrilled to be in Weatherford, and I appreciate all the support that James and all the staff's given me.
Well, welcome, sir. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
All righty. Council, any items of community interest? All right, we'll move to item 5 on the agenda. Item 5 is presentations and proclamations. 5A is recognize Brett Watson for being selected as the 2021-22 State Commander for the American Legion Department of Texas. 5B will be a proclamation naming September the 17th through 23rd, 2021 as Constitution Week. And then we'll conclude with 5C, a presentation of the City Works Excellence and Enterprise Practice Award. Council, would you please join me up front? All righty. Commander Watson, would you please come forward? Thank you for being here, sir. Turn and look here at this great audience. I'm going to read your biography. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the commander for the state of Texas, right here from the American Legion, Post 163, Commander Brett Watson.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's no wonder you're commander after I was reading this and practicing this, but I want to read you a little bit about Brett Watson. When I finish this, you're going to know exactly why this man is here and being recognized for his leadership. Again, he is the state commander for the American Legion for the year 2021, 2022 for the Department of Texas. Brett Watson was born in Texas in 1962 and grew up in small towns in Texas and Oklahoma. After graduating from Clayton High School in Clayton, Oklahoma, he studied at Eastern Oklahoma State College. After finding at college this wasn't a fit for him, he joined the United States Army in 1982. He served our country proudly during the Lebanon-Grenada era as an automatic data communications control specialist. In 1992, after working for his family, Brett started his own construction company, Alpha Metal Systems, which has grown to be a multi-million-dollar success, giving back to other small business owners in Texas and fellow community members. In 2018, with the support of his family, he started another successful business, AMS Storage, with which he continues to support the efforts of this fine community. Brett married the love of his life, Rochelle, in August of 1997, and I believe she's still with you, which is a surprise. Yeah. Rochelle is an active, paid-up-for-life American Legion Auxiliary member and a small business owner herself and a very active member in the Weatherford community. They have 4 children, Orrin Riley Watson, who served the United States Air Force, Allison Nicole Watson, who served the U.S. Army, James Tyler Watson, who is currently in the U.S. Army Reserve, and John Taylor Watson. Clearly, patriotism runs deep in the Watson family, as they are all members of the American Legion Post 163 family. Brett Watson is a paid-up-for-life member of the American Legion Post 163 for the last 13 years. He's worked in several positions in the post, including finance officer, vice commander, commander, and judge advocate. In 2012, Brett was awarded the Legionnaire of the Year award by his fellow post Legionnaires. Brett has served his district as judge advocate, vice commander, and commander. As district commander, he received the 100% commander pin in 2015, 2016, and 2017. He has served the great state of Texas as the vice commander and is currently serving on the national level with the American Legion National Security Council. He has previously served on the Americanism Council and National Security Council. The members of Post 163 family commend him on his dedication to the children and youth programs, flag etiquette presentations, community involvement with local organizations, and his selfless devotion to his local post, where he has never wavered from volunteering for the enhancement of the American Legion's 4 pillars. Brett is a passionate patriot, always selflessly serving for others. Brett is also an active Rotarian, currently serving in the Weatherford Rotary Club as their Sergeant-in-Arms. In 2020, he was awarded the Rotarian of the Year Award for his service above self. He is an active member of the Weatherford Chamber of Commerce and very active in this community, helping build businesses and community members daily. He takes great pride in helping others in this community and is proud to be a member of the American Legion. During his spare time, which I don't believe you have much of these days, sir, Brett rides his heritage Softail Harley-Davidson, enjoys his 1952 Ford F1, and spending times with his dogs, Doc and Daisy, enjoying life, the great outdoors, and the fellowship of friends and family. Congratulations again, Commander. We appreciate your service, and I'd like to offer you a microphone if you'd like to share just a few quick thoughts with our audience.
First off, Mayor, I'd like to present you with one of my challenge coins.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for this recognition. Thank you for everybody for the city of Weatherford recognizing me for this award. Actually, not an award, but my goal was to be state commander one of these days when I first became a district commander at the American Legion level. I still have goals to move forward, and hopefully one of these days that I'll be back here with the red cover on as either a national vice commander or a national commander.
It sounds like a commitment to me.
So we're looking at that because the American Legion is one of the largest veteran service organizations there is. I have 457 posts in the state of Texas. We have over 55,000 members. We should have close to 400,000 members in the state of Texas. Because 2 years ago, the American Legion, we passed the Legion Act. That means every single veteran that served since December 7th, 1941 is eligible for the American Legion.
Very well.
So we don't have to go within the war areas anymore. So a lot of people, they thought, well, we didn't serve in a war like the VFW and everything, but the American Legion, we had passed that act. So now every single veteran is eligible for the American Legion. We are very loyal in our children and youth programs. Our post, we're really dedicated in the boys state. which is a program that teaches young men how the government works, all the way from the city level, all the way up to governor. They sit on the floor, they learn how to write the bills, enact the bills, and pass the laws, just like our representatives and senators at the state level. So
We appreciate you being here on behalf of the city council, the staff, and all the citizens of Weatherford. Congratulations, Commander.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. How about a round of applause for Brett? You guys want to come take pictures? Ron, you want to come take a picture real quick? Stay right here. Y'all scoot in. Just don't mess it up, Eubank. Y'all scoot on in here. Blake?
Turn it the other way.
All righty. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Appreciate it, Commander. Hey, good to see you.
I'd like to say that this year, November the 13th is going to be the Veterans Day Parade.
November 13th. Okay, look forward to it. I always do.
It's underway. Get my phone number from Melinda. Call me later. Appreciate it.
Okay. All righty, let's move on here
Well, thank you.
to item 5B, which is a proclamation declaring September the 17th through 23rd Constitution Week. Let's see, y'all, ladies, come on up. Thank y'all for being here and for your patience with us. Yeah, sure do. Let's see, I would like to offer you this proclamation from the city of Weatherford, granted by the city council and the city of Weatherford, Texas. Hereby proclaims September the 17th to the 23rd of 2021 as Constitution Week. Whereas September the 17th of 2021 marks the anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebration which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas the Weatherford chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution provide educational programs to school children and adults of Weatherford, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September the 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, the Weatherford City Council does hereby proclaim September the 17th through 23rd, 2021 as Constitution Week in the great city of Weatherford, and is honored to ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals that the framers of the Constitution had in 1787. In testimony whereof, witness my hand and the seal of the great city of Weatherford, the 17th day of September, 2021. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you.
Alrighty.
And
Hold on just a minute here. I'd like to give you the microphone, and you can
Okay.
share a few of your thoughts about Constitution Week.
well, thank you. One thing I was going to say was the Weatherford City Council has made this proclamation for us every year since approximately 1970. And I actually have a collage of pictures from all of those, or not all of them, but some of them that we have.
You know, I recognize a few of these people,
I
but
know.
they've been around a while, haven't they?
They have.
A little more hair, a little better skin, but they've been around a
I
while.
think that's John Marshall. I'm not sure.
thank
Yeah,
you
we
for
didn't have
this.
a name on that, but we thank you. And this year, our DAR Constitution Committee celebrated by donating over 1,900 Constitution booklets to fifth graders all over Parker County, along with a preamble bookmark and an interactive video that we wrote and produced and gave them a copy so that they can show it in their classrooms. And it was voted as the best Constitution activity by our National Society in 2020.
Fantastic.
So we thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here, and how about a round of applause for these great ladies? Y'all want to get a picture? Y'all scoot in here, Blake?
Okay. Yeah, that's for your scrapbook.
Thank you. Was that for us to keep, or did you want that back? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll set this down.
I'm going to set that down.
Howdy, come on in here. All righty. Thank you so much for being here. We certainly appreciate it. Righty, the next agenda on the item is 5C, Presentation of City Works Excellence and Enterprise Award. Kyson Turner.
Mayor, council members, Tyson Turner, Assistant Director of Information Technology. And along my beside me, Austin Nichols, our business analyst. It's our honor to introduce the City Works Excellence and Enterprise Practice Award. This award recognizes organizations that utilize the City Works system across several departments in a high-quality way that help improve the work output and efficiencies, or that help improve planning and budgeting and communications across the entire organization. This year, there are only 4 cities across the U.S. that are receiving this award. Cleveland, Ohio, which has a population of 385,000, over 385,000. Stockton, California, has nearly 310,000. Tallahassee, Florida, almost 200,000. And we as the city of Weatherford are proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with these great cities in being recognized and receiving this award. In the IT department, we work to build, along with everyone else, to build a strong community, and we do that by connecting people with technology. And I believe that this award recognizes those efforts. And I want to be clear, this is not an IT award. That this is about the excellent teamwork and collaboration of several departments, utilizing the technology that we have in order to build a strong community. And so I want to invite Austin to speak to us, or to speak about the way that we use CityWorks, and to name some of the individuals and departments that have been key in receiving this award.
Thank you, Kyson.
Thanks, Kyson. Mayor, Council, Austin Nichols, Information Technology. Like Kyson said, this truly is an organizational award. It's not specific to IT, even though it's a software application. It's an organizational award and an organizational effort. I'll take a quick minute to explain what CityWorks does for us as a city and highlight some of the projects that contributed to winning this award. At its core, CityWorks is an asset management software. It's how we track the work that we do for all physical assets across the city. From a construction of a new electric or a water line to repairs of a pothole or a park bench, everything is tracked through CityWorks. From work history to operational costs, labor, equipment, material costs, all of that is tracked within CityWorks. This allows city to easily click on, let's say, an electric meter or a water valve and pull up all the work history, all the costs associated to that specific asset. One of the items on the agenda later on this agenda is to adopt the city manager's proposed budget. Many of the items listed in that proposed budget were formulated from data pulled straight out of CityWorks. We first implemented CityWorks in 2013 with our electric, water, and wastewater and warehouse departments. We immediately saw an improvement in our communication between field crews and warehouse staff, and that's evident every year as we go through inventory, which is something we do at year end coming up now. One cool project we did with the wastewater department was integrate CityWorks with our sewer line camera software. It's state mandated that we take video of a certain percentage of our sewer lines every year, and previously that footage was stored on flash drives on someone's local computer and really wasn't accessible to anyone else across the organization. Through the integration with CityWorks, all that is attached directly to individual segments of sewer line. It's accessible to anybody that has access to CityWorks to click on a line, pull up that camera, which obviously helps with state reporting, but also operationally if there are ever any kind of issues. Mayor, if you're ever interested in reviewing some of the sewer line footage, you let me know.
Probably pass, I may see them some of my own.
Yeah, and I'll
evidence,
let you connect you to some staff that could.
Appreciate that. It's very thoughtful of you.
Yeah. Another great project we created, that we completed, was creating a condition scoring system for our street network across the city. Our transportation department performs inspections on roads. They use an industry standard scoring system, and based on their observations, CityWorks creates a condition score for each road segment. Based on their, this helps them make decisions how to use resources within their department and focus on roads that need the most work and the most repairs. As you can see, CityWorks is leveraged throughout the city as a core system for much of the work that we perform. I want to take a minute to recognize some of our staff that are integral to the success of City Works and the fact that we won such a prestigious award. It truly is an organizational award. So we have some that I want to recognize that aren't here, but for the ones that are, when I call your name, stand up and let's give them a little recognition. We've got David Seacrest and Chris Maxey with our GIS department, Pat Berry, warehouse manager, Mike Byers and Edgar Escobar of our electric utilities, Cody Guillo of our water utilities, Gary Miller, Parks, Recreation, and Special Events, Matt Luppel at Transportation and Public Works, Ashley Escobar, Utility Billing Services, and Brenda Schwartz of Utilities Dispatch. So I want to thank you guys for all of your hard work. And this is, again, it's a group award. I'm really very proud of it.
Thank you, gentlemen, and congratulations on the award. Item 6 on the agenda is consent agenda items, council. We have items 6A through 6I. Do we need to talk about any of those individually? Can we entertain them as a body? Okay, I have a motion for approval of 6A through 6I made by Jeff Robinson, second by Kevin Cleveland. Any conversation or discussion before we vote on those items? Let's vote on 6A through 6I. Please indicate yea or nay. Each of those items pass. Item 7 on the agenda is public hearings. 7A is to hold a public hearing on the proposed ad valorem tax rate of 0.4581 per $100 valuation, including 0.3245 per $100 valuation for operations and maintenance, and 0.1336 per $100 valuation for interest and sinking or debt service. Don Brooks.
Mayor, members of the council, I'm Dawn Brooks, Finance Director. By state law, we're required to hold one public hearing on the proposed tax rate. The notice of tonight's hearing was announced at last City Council's meeting, August 24th. It was published on the Weatherford Democrat, and it was placed on the city's website. We'll be taking the final 2 steps in the truth and taxation process tonight, first by holding the public hearing on the proposed tax rate, and then later this evening, there'll be a separate item to adopt the tax rate. By state law, the adoption of the rate must be held within 7 days of the public hearing. The FY22 proposed rate is 45.81 cents per $100 of valuation and is equal to the no new revenue rate, which means it will raise the same amount of revenue for properties on the roll in both the current and previous fiscal year, current and next fiscal year, I'm sorry. It also means that the city is not proposing to increase property taxes, and lastly, it's below the maximum rate that will trigger an election. The proposed rate was used to build the FY22 proposed budget and will provide adequate revenue to meet the needs of the city for the next fiscal year. Before the hearing is open to the public, are there any questions I can answer?
Any questions for Don Brooks, council, before we have our public hearing? Thank you for your time and for all your hard work. Let's have a public hearing on item 7A. We do have the speaker card on this item, Mr. Richard Heiser. Yes. Richard, come forward. Did I pronounce that correctly, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Richard, before you get started, we'd like to have your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes, okay, sir?
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
You bet. My name is Richard Heiser, live at 1001 Fiscal Hill Trail here in Weatherford. I decided to come before you tonight because as looking at your tax rate and things of that nature, I want to thank you for going to the no new revenue tax rate, utilizing it as your standard. So that basically means, as I understand it, and this is new terminology this year, as you well know, that for existing properties and things of that nature, there's really not a tax increase. It is the new properties that you're actually getting the revenues from, those that were, that had appraisals this year and this year only. So from the aspect of a citizen and a taxpayer, I wanted to thank you for doing that. Not all taxing entities have looked at it this way this year, as they don't many years. And so we have 3 taxing entities out of the 6 that I see on my tax bill that have decided to go to the maximum rate, just under
that would require a vote. And I think that's, I understand, you know, when you're building budgets and things of that nature, you know, I would hope that you would start and look at the no new revenue rate and see if you can't live with it. And it appears that you did, and not only, you went actually under the no new revenue rate. So again, I'm here to thank you again, as a citizen and as a taxpayer here in Weatherford, Texas. Thank you.
Thank you for coming forward, sir. We appreciate it. Is there anybody else from the floor that would like to speak on item 7A specifically? If there is, please come forward at this time. 7A, public hearing. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on item 7A. Council, there is no action required on this item. Is it okay if I move on?
Yes, sir.
Item 8 on the agenda is regular agenda items. 8A is consider and/or act upon approval of ordinance O2021-51 adopting the city manager's proposed budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022. Welcome back.
Tonight, we'll be asking the council to adopt the FY22 city manager's proposed budget. There have been no changes made to the proposed budget since it was originally presented to you on August 10th. This budget encompasses 23 separate funds, 17 departments, 315 employees, and all city programs with the exception of utilities. The FY22 city manager's proposed budget is balanced. It expands current service levels by adding several critical positions and will leave us in a financially sound position with a reserve that well exceeds the 120-day council preference. Total budgeted revenues across all funds is $60.9 million, and total budgeted expenditures is $59.3 million. The general fund budget includes $40.7 million in revenues, $42.8 million in expenditures. On an ongoing basis, the budget is balanced with a surplus of $37,000. We will be utilizing $2.1 million of available fund balance to fund one-time expenditures. The general fund projected fund balance at the end of FY22 will be $17.8 million, or 166 working days. Of that, $4.3 million will remain available outside of the 120-day preference and the current reserve for compensated absences. And at this time, I'll turn it over to council for any questions, comments, and a vote.
Any questions on 8A for Don Brooks? Council, this is an action item.
I have a couple of observations.
Mayor Pro Tem.
First off, I would like to thank staff, Dawn Brooks and her staff, for the outstanding effort in putting this budget together. It was an outstanding job, and thank you very much. Secondly, I'd like to take this opportunity to share my observations with our team, because this is our only opportunity to share our observations with each other, and so our citizens understand our reasoning for the policy and budget decisions being made. First off, an observation is things happen after the retreat. We've been made aware, unfortunately, this year of a winter event that was really not expected. And with that, in this budget, we have 457 of one-time expenditures that are actually, the only reason it's 457 is because it's going to expand multiple years. So I would ask that we look at maybe being a little bit flexible. I'm willing to give something else up in next year's budget, because it is going to be, it isn't something that should remain in one-time expenditures. It's something that should be in operating expenditures, because the plan is he only could use 457 in this year, but it is a multiple year expense. So I would like to be able to look at that and see if maybe that's a policy decision we don't want to put into operating for next year's budget.
Okay.
But I did want to say I don't think people realize the extent and the hard work that goes into this, and I just wanted to commend all of our staff for the input that they had, but you especially, Dawn, and your staff for the exceptional budget that you came up with.
Well, thank you.
Your comments are duly noted and appreciated. That's what we're here for, is to share the way each of us feels about certain things, so thanks for bringing that forward. Any other comments or anything on 8A? It is an action item, council. It's your pleasure.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Kevin Cleveland, second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion before we vote on 8A? Let's vote on it. Please indicate yea or nay on 8A. That item passes. Let's move down to 8B. Consider and/or act upon approval of ordinance O 2021-52, adopting the ad valorem tax rate of 45.81 cents per 100 evaluation for the 2021 tax year, 2022 fiscal year. Don Brooks.
Now that we have an adopted budget for FY '22, the City Council can adopt a property tax rate. This is the final step in the truth and taxation process. Earlier tonight, we held a public hearing on the proposed rate, and by state law, we're required to adopt that rate within 7 days of the hearing. The FY '22 budget was balanced using the no new revenue rate of 45.81 cents per $100 evaluation. This is 2.48 cents lower than the current year adopted rate, or 5%. And at this time, I'll turn it over to council for a vote on the proposed tax.
Council, is there any questions or discussion on this item? The verbiage that's required is before you. If Mayor Pro Tem, I do see a motion by you. For the
I
record,
move-
would you read the verbiage? Thank you.
I move that the property tax rate be decreased by the adoption of the tax rate of 45.81 cents per 100 valuation, which is effectively a 5% decrease in the tax rate. This includes a rate of 32.45 cents for the operations and maintenance of the general fund and 13.36 cents in order to service the city's debt.
Mr. Robinson, is your second stand, sir?
Absolutely.
Righty. Any discussion on this item before we vote on it? 8B, let's take a vote. Please indicate yea or nay. And that item passes. 8C is consider authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement with Parker County to provide library services for Parker County residents during the current fiscal year and consider next fiscal year's interlocal agreement for same. Chris Cardo.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm Chris Accardo, Director of Library Services. There's two matters on this agenda item. The first is the fiscal year 21 agreement is still before us for consideration. This is the exact same agreement brought before Council on March 9th. Further discussions with Parker County officials did not result in an increased payment amount. But in order to receive the payment from Parker County for the services that we've already provided for this year, this agreement will be necessary. So, open it up to council comments on that item.
Okay. Do you have any other presentation, or does that conclude the presentation portion?
Well, I have some more. I have the fiscal year 22 agreement,
Okay.
but I thought we would consider the 21 agreement first.
Mr. Hotok, for clarification, are we taking action on one item or two at the same time?
It will be, it's just listed as one item, so we'll have to take action on both at the same time.
So we have the two agreements under one action item.
Okay.
And so, council, would you be okay if we went ahead and completed his presentation and then we had discussion?
Yes, I was just going to seek clarification. So did we not approve this a year ago for 21?
No, this is the agreement that we got at the beginning of this year that I brought to council on March, I
Okay.
believe it was the 9th, that we talked about before, but council did not take action at that.
Okay.
Can we go ahead and proceed with the presentation, council?
Absolutely.
Mayor Pro
Okay.
Tem, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Proceed, okay, go ahead.
Okay. The proposed interlocal agreement for fiscal year 22 provides public library services for county residents from October of 2021 through September of 2022. And of note, in this agreement, the funding amount is proposed by the city to the county. A firm date is in place for acceptance of the agreement, and an automatic renewal and yearly escalation provisions are included. And the intent of the discussion on this item is to listen to comments and concerns from the City Council in order to provide staff with directions concerning key provisions such as the agreement amount, the yearly escalation percentage or a fixed amount, and the consequences of path forward in case the agreement is not accepted by the county. And that is all I have on those. I'm really just interested in hearing your thoughts on on that matter.
Thoughts or conversation on item 8C, council?
You want to start, Jeff?
No, the only comment I'll make is that I have been unhappy with this agreement for the years that I've been on council. And we have spoke to and asked the county judge as well as the county commissioners to do something different, and we did have one increase, but there's not enough growth. And it's really not just the library, and that's all that I can speak to, but it's kind of symbolic of many other contracts with the county. So I'm not very happy with the agreement.
Chris, the proposed agreement doesn't have the base value that's stipulated. Can you just specify what that is?
The base value,
Document for FY '22 doesn't have the values included. You can still put for the public record and for our clarification. Can you clarify that data?
the base amount for FY '22 is what I was hoping to get from council. Some direction on what, before we take it to the county, what council wanted to see out of that.
I think what he's saying is that, and what we had directed him was to
Understand.
allow us to, and I'm more than willing to give you a figure that I believe is true and correct, and that would be to start out at 250,000.
I understand that, and I appreciate the clarification. So, Mr. Cardo, I apologize for that question.
No, no problem. I understand. In the past, the county has voted on the amount and then sent us the agreement, and this is an effort to turn that around where the city is proposing the amount.
Have they already taken action on their fiscal year budget for next year?
I do not know if they've done the final approval on their budget at this point.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to move forward, is you give them a number that we're looking for, that we're gonna be happy with. Otherwise, they're always gonna give a little bit extra, and then we're not gonna be happy, and then they've given and we're not happy still. And so I think setting a number is a great plan. I would say that when you're trying to partner with somebody and you're expecting somebody else to help you make an item whole, in year after year after year, they don't partner and make you whole. You have to start considering other ways to structure things outside of that to make it equitable and fair. And so just know that we're asking for a number that we would be happy with, and you've come up with a number, and I think that's the best way to start. But their decision is theirs to make. And so if they choose not to partner with us on a library, that's something they answer for. We will provide a library. We just have to figure out how to make that structure whole for us, whether we have a partner or not. So I think that's a conversation we need to be having with ourselves over the year, and not come back next budget cycle still asking for something without a contingency plan of what it looks like us doing it by ourselves.
Partnerships are loosely defined, but a true partnership is where everybody pays their fair share.
Right.
That's structured and supported by data and usage by appropriate parties, correct?
Correct.
And so when it's not a partnership that's funded correctly, then it's a subsidy program. And at some point, as Councilman Cleveland had, and I think as we all feel, we have a responsibility to our citizens first and foremost. And we're all interested in literacy. We're all interested in helping out people, but we're elected to do a job to our constituents to protect their city tax dollars. So it's a terribly difficult situation, but I want to be careful where we use the words collaborate and partner, because in its current existence, this is not a partnership. And as we all say, we have to find a solution to this. We have had a number thrown out. Any thoughts on that, council?
Well, I think that at 250, it's a bargain for them, because for the county, because when you look at the percentage of usage by people that live in the county, not the city, and then look at what the budget for the library is every year, I think that's a bargain for them. But I would be okay with that dollar amount. But for too many years, the citizens of Weatherford have paid for a library for the people in the county. And I'm ready, if they don't move up and do this, that we, I still want to allow the people in the county to use our library, but I would like to see a fee be added to it. Because our citizens, whether they use the library or not, they're paying. And so for the county residents that want to use it, I think they should pay.
Mr. Cardo, what number would make the relationship whole financially?
Well, I had this discussion, I believe at the last meeting, we mentioned the utility cost of service model. And I did have a meeting with Rick Schaefer. We went over that because I didn't know
Just the
what
number,
it was.
the number that would be plugged in.
So we're looking around, half of the expense of the library. So, with a proposed, now an approved fiscal year 22 library budget of just over $1 million, 50%, you're looking at $518,000.
Is the usage substantiated? Do we have the data to support that?
We do.
Have they seen that data?
The county? Yes.
Yes.
They
So
know.
they've been presented with the data
They
that
have.
shows the usage of county residents versus city residents. And that's how that number that you just gave is derived. It's not something that our city staff has just dreamed up. We have the data to support the financial number that you just shared. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to also add to your question, that number and that data has been shared by me personally. That number has been shared year after year with the county. That is not something new to them or something that they've been aware of our budget. They have been aware of those numbers. Those numbers for the last at least 3 years have remained pretty much at a 50-50. They are very well aware and have been provided that year after year.
Any other thoughts or comments on the agreement, the fiscal year 22 agreement?
I think I think something important to point out is there's a different belief as to services that should be provided by different governing bodies. And I think overall, my sense of the county is that is not a service that they've been tasked with providing as a governing entity. And from what I've gathered, that's the stance they've taken, is that this is not necessarily a service they should or have been tasked with providing. And so there's a very good chance, as I've said, we feel like this is a very big benefit to our community. It's a service a lot of our citizens would like to have. A lot of county people would like to have it as well. But like I say, I can't say enough how important it is for us to try to figure out how to make it whole on our own.
Thoughts or questions? Mayor Pro Tem, what was your number again?
$250,000 to start with.
$250,000. Any thoughts or discussion on that?
Will we as a body be comfortable at $250,000? Will we have the conversation next year that the number that makes it whole and the number that is right is 50%, and we set it at $250,000? Will we be comfortable with that? So what I would not want to do is present an offer to a body that maybe they choose to accept it. Maybe they see the value in the library and they say, you know what, $250,000 is fair. It's half of our cost. But are we as a body going to be bothering them again next year or the year after when we're still looking at it and saying it's still not fair, it's still not quite there? And so if we're as a body are comfortable with 50% of what we feel is their true value, are we as a body going to be comfortable 2 years from now at that? Or do we need to be establishing a model that says we look at a percentage of usage based on percentage of total budget, and we derive a number that's based on something other than just
I think that this was designed as a starting point. I believe what we had talked about in our meeting was that this would be a starting point and we would get to that point over a 5-year period. So that you're just not, wow, you got it first year and you're slammed, and then you go another 15 years like we have and we never get anywhere past that. I think this was a starting point, and the intention that when we had our discussion was this is the starting point, $250,000, and then each year up to 5 years, over 5 years, we increase that to get us to whole.
So at 250,000, the way the contract is written right now, it has an annual escalation clause in it. So if you wanted to get to 500,000 within 5 years, we would just make that number 50,000 a year in increase. Is that what I'm hearing?
So I think, council, this is a respectful discussion that we're having, and it's necessary. As a governmental entity and elected board, you know, what gets funded is what is important to us, and we make that a priority, and we share that with staff, right? This is business, and we're doing the business of our taxpayers. And if the county wants to fund this, that's their decision. Library services is either a priority to them or it's not. But there should be no remorse or no hesitation to require what the partnership is and what it should deserve financially, whether we ask for all of it now, to require to move forward in current fashion, or we do a 5-year tier plan. But if we're going to establish that protocol now, it needs to be very clear that this is going to be a relationship that's whole in partnership, but also in financial nature, whether that's over a 3-year period or a 5-year period.
And you know, this has been stated in our meetings this time of year a number of times over the last 10 years. A little firmer some years than others, but, you know, 10 years down the road, we're getting $20,000 or $30,000 more than we got 15 years ago.
Right.
And it's still a small amount. So to me, it's time to take a stand and say that if you want to use the library, you need to pay an equitable amount. And I don't have a problem with if they agree to 250 and we'll get there over 5 years, but there's not been any real growth. And so I would be okay with just saying we have no agreement and that county residents can pay and we probably would need to do a little research, but you know, I've looked at some of the other libraries in North Texas that in some of their fees vary for out of city people that use their library. And, you know, maybe it's $50 a year or whatever it is for a library card, which, you know, that feels bad because we have school-age kids and such from the county that use our library, and it's very important to them. There's homeschool groups from the county and would love to be able to partner, but at some point, we have to make a change where the citizens of Weatherford are not paying the full bill. So, yeah.
So $250,000 is the number that's been proposed by the Mayor Pro Tem. Is there an escalating clause in here?
Yes, sir. I'd like to, this first year for the 22 would be 250,000 with a $50,000 increase over the next 5 years.
I would like to just put a little point of thought to that, though, before we take a vote on that. So if we're escalating at a set fee of $50,000 a year to get to 500,000, it doesn't address what the budget looks like 5 years from now for the library.
I agree.
It doesn't address another item, and this is one argument from the other side. If I was the county, I would make the argument that I'm not paying an equal share of half of something I don't control. And I think we would all as a business probably think the same way. I'm not going to give you 50% of the cost to run something that I have no say-so and control over. So I think their equitable share should be a little bit less, despite the fact that their percentage is more, because we control the budget. We set this. Our priorities and what we give the library is directly affected by our investment into that program. And so their investment not be the same. So they might not agree that their fair share is 500,000. So to me, it looks more like something along the lines of the 50,000 would be fine, but maybe you make an amount that's not to exceed 40% of the library budget, or something that sets them a cap that doesn't have them paying an equitable 50% share when they don't have the say-so. Does that make sense?
Another comment on that is, what if the data shifted? What if there was less or more usage by county residents? And so I would hate to see us lock ourselves in to that.
Yeah, maybe something that's maybe it's related to percentage of use by county residents, but not to exceed more than 40%. So it's equal to the percentage of use by county residents, but not to exceed 40% of budget.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Budget's been pretty consistent at $1 million for the last several years. And the county participation has been between 50 and 60 for the last several years. I do see your point. I do believe the county residents pay into the county, and although the county may not see it as their responsibility, I believe education's everybody's responsibility.
100%.
So, I think as a government entity, I don't think that's a true statement. I think it's everybody's responsibility. So I would say, okay, can we do this? 250 is the starting point, and over the next 5 years, 50,000 or not to exceed 40% of the budget.
Councilman Cleveland?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Mr. Robinson?
You know, I understand the premise of what you're saying, but it's been closer to 60% more years, and I think it's been over 60%. And to say that they only have to pay 40% when a great deal of their revenue is from the citizens of Weatherford.
I agree.
I think that to get the ability for the citizens of the county to use the library for 50% of the budget and them not have to worry about it, and if they don't trust our judgment on how we run the library, then go build their own.
That's always an option, isn't it?
It is.
I can tell you,
So what's your, Councilman Cleveland, come right back to you. So what's your recommendation, that follows the statement? What would you like
I
to
would
see?
say that the 250,000 in 2022, with a $50,000 a year increase, until it reaches the, not to exceed a percentage of usage by the county that could be determined with the data each year.
Okay. So we base the percentage based on the prior year data? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Mr. Cleveland, or Councilman Cleveland, I'm sorry. You were next.
no, I think either way, we're probably gonna find ourselves back where I said it, is that's gonna be figuring out ourselves. I'm okay, either way we go. If we vote for the 60%, we vote for the 40%, I think at the end of the day, to be honest with ourselves, we're gonna end up with what Jeff recommended, and I think that's gonna be, you pay for what you use. If you use a service, you pay for it. If you're not paying the tax dollars and it's being subsidized, you pay for your card to get in. So honestly, I'm okay either way I wanna do it, because I think we're gonna be coming back to a different program at the
Mayor
end.
Pro Tem. Mr. Robinson's
You
lobbed
you
out
make a
an
good point, and you might be right. I would say to that, education is every governmental entity's responsibility, and I would hope the citizens of Parker County would go to the commissioners and tell them how important it is. I have faith that they will go to their commissioners and explain just how important the library is to everyone. So I'm with the 250 base with the 50,000 increase for the next 4 years after that.
And that's in the form of a motion that you made.
Yes.
Is there a second on that motion?
I tried.
Understand. Councilman Cleveland has seconded that motion. Mayor Pro Tem, just for the record, one more time before we take a vote on it and consider any other discussion, could you state the motion again?
250,000 for FY '22 in the contract, and 50,000 until we're at the 500,000.
Top, is that specific enough? Is that fill all the blanks?
Does that also include the 2021 agreement as Chris presented?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. That includes the 2021 agreement as presented.
Okay, but let me ask one more question on your motion.
We have plenty of time. Take your time.
But does that end at 500,000 and then we're not asking for any more, or does that mean?
That's the end of the contract at that point, and then at 5 years from now, we see where that goes.
Okay. Okay. Any questions on the motion's been made by Mayor Pro Tem?
Second matches.
Okay. Second stands. Any discussion on 8C before we take a vote on it? We're voting on the 2021 budget and the 2022 budget. Let's vote on it. 8C. Indicate yea or nay, please. All right, that passes. Let's move on down to Mr. Cardo. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you all.
Item 9 on the agenda, future agenda items. Mr. Hotop,
Two, so it was requested, and at the September 28th council meeting, we'll have a short discussion on the signed ordinance presentation. I think that was requested. And also, we will have at the first meeting in October, Parks Department will have a presentation with regards to park dedication fees and the benefits that we're deriving from the increase of those. So
Great. Sounds great. Thanks for that update, council. Future agenda items? Let's move on down to item 10, which is executive session items. 10A, pursuant to Chapter 551, Texas Government Code VTCS, Open Meetings Law, in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations, Weatherford I-20 Main Street LP / Weatherford Ridge Shopping Center. We'll go into executive session, adjourn here at 7:25 to the South Conference Room. To the public and the people attending tonight, we'll be back for item 11 when we conclude our executive session. All righty, we are back in regular session. Council, item 11 on the agenda is action on executive session items. 11A, to take action if necessary pursuant to Chapter 551, Texas Government Code VTCS, Open Meetings Law, in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations, Weatherford I-20, Main Street LP / Weatherford Ridge Shopping Center. Council, do you have a desire to take action on this item?
Make a motion to approve amended agreement with Weatherford Ridge Shopping Center.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Cleveland. There's a second by Mayor Pro Tem Wilder. Any discussion on the item before we take a vote? Let's vote on 11A. Please indicate yea or nay. That passes. Item 12 on the agenda is citizen comments on non-agenda items. Is there anybody from the floor that would like to speak on a non-agenda item? If so, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, we'll go to item 13, which is adjournment. Motion by Jeff Robinson for adjournment, second by Mayor Pro Tem Wilder. Let's vote on adjournment, council. Council's adjourned at 7:42. Thank you all for your service.